So I'm continuing with the same chapter, stoichiometry. So I will discuss some questions today. Now I'm dictating one question. All of you note this question. So the first question is, a mixture of oxalic acid. There is a mixture of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate, NaHC2O4. So a mixture of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate in water and volume of this solution is 1 liter. So the question is, a mixture of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate is dissolved in water and volume of solution was made to 1 liter. Now 10 milliliter of the solution, 10 milliliter of the solution requires 3 milliliter of 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide solution for neutralization. In another experiment, ten milliliter of same solution in sulfuric acid medium, means in acidic medium, requires 4 milliliter of 0.1 normal potassium permanganate solution for complete reaction. In another experiment, 10 milliliter of same solution in sulfuric acid medium requires 4 milliliter of 0.1 normal potassium permanganate solution for complete reaction. Calculate the masses of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate in the mixture. Calculate the masses of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate in the mixture. I am repeating the question. A mixture of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate is dissolved in water and volume was made to 1 liter. 10 milliliter of the solution requires 3 milliliter of 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide solution for complete neutralization. In another experiment, 10 milliliter of the same solution in sulfuric acid medium requires 4 milliliter of 0.1 normal potassium permanganate solution for complete reaction. Calculate the masses of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate in the mixture. You need to calculate the mass of these two in the mixture.
Sir, grams and 1.12 grams. 0.9 gram and 1.12 gram.
1.12 gram in which compound?
Sodium bioxalate.
Bioxalate. Oxalic acid?
0.9 grams.
0.9 gram, correct. Others also try. Should I do it? Yes, I'm explaining this question now. You have mixture of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate in water. The total volume of solution is 1 liter, means 1000 milliliter. You have taken 10 milliliter of the solution, and that 10 milliliter of the solution requires 3 milliliter of 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide solution for neutralization. Now, with sodium hydroxide, oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate both will react. Oxalic acid, there are two acidic hydrogen. So if you write the reaction separately, then 1 mole of oxalic acid will react with 2 moles of sodium hydroxide, but 1 mole of sodium bioxalate will react with only 1 mole of sodium hydroxide. There is only one acidic hydrogen here. Or if you do not want to write the reactions directly, you go by equivalent concept, and you can directly solve this question using equivalent concept. So we will write that number of milli equivalents of oxalic acid plus number of milli equivalents of sodium bioxalate this will be equal to the number of milli equivalents of sodium hydroxide. So solution is having oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate both. So when you add sodium hydroxide, both the compounds will consume sodium hydroxide. So total number of milli equivalents of sodium hydroxide consumed will be equal to number of milli equivalents of oxalic acid plus number of milli equivalents of sodium bioxalate. Now, in the question, that molarity of oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate is not given. So what we will do, we will assume that molarity of oxalic acid M1 and molarity of sodium bioxalate as M2. Now, number of milli equivalents of sodium bioxalate, that will be volume of solution in milliliter. Volume of solution in milliliter is 10 ml multiplied by normality of oxalic acid. Now, normality of oxalic acid will be molarity multiplied by N factor. So, N factor of oxalic acid will be taken as 2. It has 2 acidic hydrogen. So, N factor is 2 and its molarity is M1. So 2 into M1, that is normality. M1 we have taken as molarity multiplied by 2. So now 2 into M1 is normality. When it is multiplied by volume in milliliter, it became number of milli equivalents of oxalic acid. Similarly, you can write the number of milli equivalents of sodium bioxalate. Again, volume is 10 milliliter. N factor of this sodium bioxalate is 1. There is only one acidic hydrogen. Multiplied by its molarity M2. This will be equal to number of milli equivalents of sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is 3 milliliter 0.1 normal. So it is 3 into 0.1. So you can say it is 20 M1 plus 10 M2 equal to 0.3. Now, this you can take as equation 1. Now read next part of the question. It is said that 10 milliliter of the same solution in acidic medium requires 4 milliliter of 0.1 normal potassium permanganate solution for complete reaction. Now the solution which is containing oxalic acid and sodium bioxalate, that is reacted with potassium permanganate. You know what is going to happen here. Potassium permanganate is oxidizing agent. It will be oxidizing these oxalates. Oxalic acid will be oxidized to carbon dioxide. Sodium bioxalate will also be oxidized to carbon dioxide. This oxalate will be oxidized to carbon dioxide. This will happen here. In both the cases, this oxalate is going to be oxidized to carbon dioxide. So here, N factor, if you calculate, what is the N factor here? This is 2. So now for second reaction, N factor of oxalic acid as well as sodium bioxalate, both will be 2. Because with potassium permanganate, both will be oxidized to carbon dioxide. In first case, N factors were 2 and 1, and these were different because the first reaction was acid-base reaction. So N factor was depending on number of acidic hydrogen. But here N factor will depend on this redox reaction, the oxidation of oxalate to carbon dioxide. So it will be 2 for oxalic acid as well as for sodium bioxalate. So now for next experiment, or in this another experiment, number of milliequivalents of oxalic acid will be again the volume of oxalic acid solution. The solution volume we have taken is 10 milliliter into its N factor multiplied by molarity. Number of milliequivalents of sodium bioxalate will be again calculated in the similar way. Volume is 10 milliliter. N factor will be taken as 2 into its molarity. Now this will be equal to number of milliequivalents of potassium per magnet. Now potassium per magnet we have taken as 4 milliliter and it is 0.1 normal. So number of milliequivalents of potassium per magnet is 4 into 0.1. So it will come 21 plus 20 M2 equal to 0.4. Now, if you subtract equation 1 from 2, then you will get 10 M2 equal to 0.1. So M2 will be equal to 0.1 by 10 or 1 by 100. M2 is molarity of sodium bioxalate. So we got molarity of sodium bioxalate. This is 1 by 100. Now volume of solution is 1 liter. So number of moles of sodium bioxalate will be 1 by 100 only. Molarity is number of moles divided by volume, and since volume is 1 liter, whatever is molarity, that is only the number of moles. So number of moles of sodium bioxalate will be 1 by 100. From here you can calculate the mass of sodium bioxalate. This will be 1 by 100 into its gram molecular mass. That will come 64 plus 24, 88 plus 24, 112. So it will be 1.12 gram. Similarly, calculate MO1, and that MO1 will be the molarity of oxalic acid. From there you can calculate the mass of oxalic acid, and you will get that mass of oxalic acid is 0.9 gram. So substitute this value of M2 in any of those two equations, find M1, and from M1 you can calculate the mass of oxalic acid. You will get 0.9 gram. Is there any doubt in any step?
No, sir.
Okay, then do the next question. Right, next question. Right, there is a mixture of oxygen and ozone. The mixture of oxygen and ozone, and its volume is 1 liter at STP. So there is a mixture of oxygen and ozone and its volume is 1 liter at STP. Right, this mixture is reacted with, excess of acidified potassium iodide solution. This mixture is reacted with excess of acidified potassium iodide, liberated iodine. The liberated iodine required 40 milliliter of the liberated iodine required 40 milliliter of m by 10, means molarity is 1 by 10. 40 milliliter of m by 10 sodium thiosulfate solution for titration. Sodium thiosulfate solution for titration. Calculate the mass percentage. Calculate the mass percentage of ozone in the mixture. Calculate the mass percentage of ozone in the mixture. There is one more part in the same question. Write in continuation. Ultraviolet radiation of wavelength ultraviolet radiation of wavelength 300 nanometer can decompose ozone. Ultraviolet radiation of wavelength 300 nanometer can decompose ozone. Assume that one photon can decompose one ozone molecule. Assume that one photon can decompose one ozone molecule. Then how many photons would be required? Then how many photons would be required for complete decomposition of ozone in original mixture? I am repeating, ultraviolet radiation of wavelength 300 nanometer can decompose ozone. Assume that one photon can decompose one ozone molecule. Then how many photons would be required for complete decomposition of ozone in the original mixture? Solve it.
Second answer 12.046 into 10 power 20.
Correct. Find the first answer. You have done some mistakes somewhere. So answer is 6.57.
So 6.57 I got, sir.
Yeah, 6.57.
So what is the second question, sir?
What is?
The second question, what are we supposed to find?
You have to find the number of photons that will be required for complete decomposition of ozone in original mixture.
So his mass percentage 6.57.
Mass percentage?
6.57, sir.
Yes, 6.57.
And number of photons is 2 into 10 power minus 3 moles, sir.
But that in moles you cannot write the numbers, no?
Sir,
Multiply
1.2046 into 10 power 21.
Correct.
Yes, sir. Same. That.
I don't want to copy it.
So 12.046 into 10 power 20, sir. Photons.
Correct. Correct. Okay, so I will discuss it now. So you have mixture of oxygen and ozone, and the volume of this mixture is 1 liter at STP. This mixture is reacted with an excess of acidified solution of potassium iodide. The liberated iodine required 40 milliliter of sodium thiosulfate solution for complete titration. You have to calculate the mass percentage of ozone in the mixture. Now here just to see the first part, where a mixture of oxygen and ozone is reacted with an excess of acidified solution of potassium iodide. In this first part, you should not use equivalent concept. You should go by mole concept here. The study also I told you that if you're finding that any reactant is in excess, then we should avoid using equivalent concept. We should go by mole concept in that case. Equivalent concept is basically useful when nothing is in excess. So in the first part where we have mixture of oxygen and ozone, we will go by mole concept. Second part where iodine liberated is requiring 40 milliliter of M/10 sodium thiosulfate solution for titration. Here there will be complete reaction, so we will use equivalent concept for second part. Now, if you are going to use mole concept, you must know the chemical reaction. So here the reaction between ozone and potassium iodide should be known to you. Oxygen is not going to react with potassium iodide. Ozone reacts with potassium iodide. And the reaction of ozone with potassium iodide is this. Ozone reacts with potassium iodide, aqueous solution. It forms potassium hydroxide, iodine, and oxygen. This is the reaction. So here, this is balanced equation. So 1 mole of ozone will give 1 mole of iodine. So number of moles of iodine should be equal to number of moles of ozone. Now number of moles of iodine we can calculate from that sodium thiosulfate titration. Now, you know, this I am writing as equation 1. You know, when iodine is titrated with sodium thiosulfate, it gives sodium tetrathionate and NaI. So number of equivalents of iodine will be equal to number of equivalents of sodium thiosulfate. Now for sodium thiosulfate, volume is 40 milliliter and its molarity is 1/10. So number of equivalents will be volume in liter, that will be 40 by 1000. This is volume in liter, multiplied by its normality. Normality will be molarity multiplied by its n factor. Now here n factor you must have calculated. What is n factor here? Sodium thiosulfate to sodium tetrathionate. What is n factor?
6, sir. 1.
N factor is 1. So this is 1. So this will be 4 into 10 to the power minus 3. So you got the number of equivalents of iodine, and number of equivalents of iodine will be n factor of iodine multiplied by number of moles. This will be equal to 4 into 10 to the power minus 3. Now, in this reaction, this iodine is transforming to sodium iodide. If you calculate its n factor, this will be 2. From 0 to minus 1, and we have to calculate the change for 2 iodine, so n factor will be 2. So you will get the number of moles of iodine here. So substitute n equal to 2 and then calculate the number of moles of iodine. So number of moles of iodine will be 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. Now, if you got the number of moles of iodine, you got number of moles of ozone also. Both are equal. So number of moles of ozone will be 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. From here, second part of the question will be solved. It is said that assume that one photon can decompose one ozone molecule. You need to find the number of photons. So number of moles of ozone is 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. So number of molecules of ozone will be this multiplied by Avogadro number. It will become 12.046 into 10 to the power 20. This is the number of molecules of ozone. For each molecule, one photon is needed. So number of photons will be equal to number of molecules of ozone. So number of photons required will be the same. You can write it as 1.2046 into 10 to the power 21. So this is second part. Now you have to calculate the mass percentage of ozone. Now see here, you got the number of moles of ozone 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. Read first line. There is a mixture of oxygen and ozone and its volume is 1 liter at STP. From here, can you calculate the total number of moles of oxygen and ozone in the mixture? It can be very easily calculated. 22.4 liter. This is the volume of 1 mole at STP. So obviously 1 liter will be the volume of 1 by 22.4 mole. So total moles of oxygen and ozone is 1 by 22.4. This is the total number of moles of oxygen and ozone. From this, if you subtract the number of moles of ozone, you will get the number of moles of oxygen. So number of moles of oxygen will be this minus number of moles of ozone. So you got the number of moles of oxygen. So now in the mixture, number of moles of oxygen is known to you, number of moles of ozone is known to you. If you multiply this number of moles by corresponding gram molecular masses, then you will get the mass of ozone in the mixture and mass of the mixture. After getting the mass of ozone and oxygen, so from the first line, we have got what is the total number of moles of oxygen and ozone in the mixture. This is 1 by 22.4 because STP condition is given. From there, if we subtract the number of moles of ozone, we will get the number of moles of oxygen. After getting number of moles of oxygen, if you multiply it by 32, you will get the mass of oxygen. And if you multiply the number of moles of ozone by 48, you will get the mass of ozone. So you will get the mass of oxygen and mass of ozone in the mixture. Then after that, mass percentages can be easily calculated. It will come 6.57. Have you done in the same way or any way different from this? Same. Okay. Now, right. Next question. Right. Aqua solution containing 0.1 gram potassium iodate KiO3. Its molecular mass is given was treated with this is the question. Aqua solution containing 0.1 gram of potassium iodate, molecular weight 214, was treated with an excess of potassium iodide solution. Solution was acidified with hydrochloric acid. Liberated iodine consumed 45 milliliter of sodium thiosulfate solution. Calculate the molarity of sodium thiosulfate solution.
Zero point 0.06.
0.06. Yeah. What are the other digits?
0.0623.
Yeah, 0.0623. Others also try. I will wait for some time.
0.0623.
Correct.
Sir, is it 0.0623?
Yeah, correct. Can you explain how you got it?
Yes, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I wrote the equation, sir. IO3 minus plus 5I minus plus 6H plus gives 3I2 plus 3H2O, sir.
Right.
Sir, so 1 mole of KiO3 will react with 3 moles of I2, sir. Sir, so like I found out the moles of KiO3 using given data, sir. So 0.1 by 214 moles of KiO3 should react with 0.3 by 214 moles of I2, sir.
Correct.
Sir, and then I wrote the next equation, sir. I2 plus 2Na2H2O3 gives that equation, sir. So like 1 mole should react with 2 moles. So using that same logic, I found molarity, sir.
Correct. Correct. You see, in this question, it is said that aqueous solution containing 0.1 gram of potassium iodate, molecular weight of potassium iodate was treated with an excess of potassium iodide. So again here, if you read the question, they are using the word excess. So I am repeating that whenever you are finding such things, avoid equivalent concept, you will be in trouble. Don't use equivalent concept, go by mole concept. Medium and liberated iodine consumed 45 milliliter of sodium sulfate solution in titration. You have to calculate the molarity of sodium thiosulfate solution. So here potassium iodate is reacted with excess of potassium iodide in the presence of hydrochloric acid. Now this reaction is known to you, the reaction of iodate with iodide. It will give potassium chloride, iodine and water. If you balance it, this will be or you can write it in this way, this KiO3 plus 5Ki plus 6HCl. This will give 6KCl plus 3I2 plus 3H2. So this is a reaction of potassium iodate with potassium iodide. Now this potassium iodide is anyway in excess. So obviously potassium iodate is limiting reagent. So number of moles of this iodine will be decided by potassium iodate. 1 mole of potassium iodate will give 3 moles of iodine. So what do you do here? First you calculate the number of moles of potassium iodate. This is 0.1 divided by 240. This is the number of moles of potassium iodate. Now 1 mole of potassium iodate will give you 3 moles of iodine. So number of moles of iodine will be 3 times of this. So you got the number of moles of iodine. Now this iodine which is liberated, that is titrated with sodium thiosulfate. and that reaction is very well known to you. If you want, you can balance this equation also and proceed through mole concept. Else, if you want, you can go by equivalent concept here also for second part. So, number of equivalents of iodine will be equal to number of equivalents of sodium thiosulfate. Now, number of equivalents of iodine will be n factor of iodine. For iodine, n factor is 2. So this will be n factor of iodine multiplied by the number of moles of iodine, which you have calculated here. This is 3 into 0.1 divided by 214. This gives the number of equivalents of iodine. There 2 is n factor multiplied by number of moles. This will be equal to number of equivalents of sodium thiamine in milliliter. So number of equivalents will be volume in liter. So 45 by 1000 multiplied by its normality. Normality will be molarity multiplied by n factor sodium thiosulfate. And for sodium thiosulfate, no, we have calculated earlier also, its n factor will be 1. So 1. Now solve it and get molarity. Can you rub it? Okay, one more question you write. This question is related to hardness of water. So write the question. Right, a sample of hard water contains 96 ppm sulfate ion and 183 ppm bicarbonate ion. Calcium is in hard water. So sulfate and bicarbonate are 96 ppm and 183 ppm. Calcium ion is the only cation present in hard water. Now, right, how many moles will be required to remove? How many moles of calcium oxide will be required to remove bicarbonate ion from 1000 kg of this water? How many moles of calcium oxide will be required to remove bicarbonate ion from 1000 kg, 1000 kg of this hard water? Now, second part of the question. If 1000 kg of this water, if 1000 kg of this water is reacted with the amount of calcium oxide calculated above, if 1000 kg of this water is reacted with the amount of calcium oxide calculated above, then what will be the concentration of residual calcium ions in ppm? Then what will be the concentration of residual calcium ions in ppm? I am repeating, if 1000 kg of this water is treated with the amount of calcium oxide calculated above, then what will be the concentration of residual calcium ions in ppm? Assume calcium carbonate is completely insoluble in water. Assume calcium carbonate is completely insoluble in water.
Then end part of the question will be 96 ppm.
Okay, first to complete the question. Now there is one more part in the question, third part. If the calcium ions in 1 liter, if the calcium ions in 1 liter of the treated water, if calcium ions in the 1 liter of treated water are completely exchanged with hydrogen ions, then what will be the pH of solution? Then what will be the pH of solution? So if calcium ions in 1 liter of this treated water are completely exchanged with hydrogen ions, then what will be the pH of solution? Now solve it.
The second answer is 40 ppm, sir.
40 ppm, correct.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, when they are saying that the treated water is like calcium ions are exchanged with hydrogen ions, no, sir.
Mhm.
Then should we assume that the number of ions are same, or should we assume that the charge is same, sir?
Charge will be same. Now, how, if exchange is done, then one calcium ion will be exchanged with 2 hydrogen ions.
Yes, sir.
Charge will be same.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sir, in part 1, is the answer 1.5 mole of CO, sir? 1.5 mole.
Correct. Is anyone getting pH?
So pH 2.699, sir.
Correct. Okay, so answers are 1.5. First answer is 1.5. Second answer is 40 ppm. And third answer is 2.7. pH is 2.7. Those who have not got, please try. Tomorrow I will discuss this question and I will take some more questions.
Over, sir.
Yeah.